Hello, rodeo fans, and welcome back to the Short Round Podcast, the official podcast of the Canadian Professional Rodeo Association. I'm your host, Wacey Anderson, and this week I'm super pumped to be joined by my good buddy, Coy Robbins. Coy, it's been probably a bit of a slower winter for you on the rodeo front, but things on the home front haven't slowed down that much. How's things been? What have you been up to? How's she going up in Camrose?
Yeah, pretty good, man. It's been well, it's warmer now, so I shouldn't complain about much. It's been a cold snap of a month, but yeah, definitely a different look, to the winter. Um, Kind of staying home and not going stateside. Yeah, it has been different in the last two or three winters. I've gone south, um, but that's what happens when you drop the ball at the Canadian Finals Rodeo, I guess. My qualifications just weren't there this year. I entered Fort Worth and Houston and didn't get in, and just kind of took that as a a easier decision to be made to just stay home and focus on the businesses I have up here going. I'm craving it. I know that. I was in Red Deer at a PBR on the first of this month. It felt good and looking forward to this weekend coming up. But yeah, it's been different.
Does it almost turn into like a blessing in disguise in the fact that you can really truly get some time to rest and heal and train and kind of like work up that hunger again, like you mentioned, you're craving it pretty bad right now.
Yeah, yeah. I think. Well, I don't know. You look at a lot of them guys that go down there, like the bronc riders specifically. And even Jake Gardner, right? That guy's pounding the pavement and
Yeah.
and grinding it out. And I mean, I honor him for it because I struggle leaving home. And I mean, that's just that, and it doesn't help that I have a fair bit of obligations at home here to look after.
Hmm.
But as is everyone, I just, yeah, leaving home is tough for me. So this winter's definitely been nice staying home and getting, some things that kind of been on the back burner looked after. But at the end of the day, bull riding is what I do for a living, regardless of any other things that I have going on. So I'm definitely looking forward to get rolling again up here. This summer we'll see, what shakes out.
Hmm.
If I go south and how much if I do. But yeah, we're just kind of day by day and I don't have much time to think about anything else right now other than the stuff I got going on. So
Yeah, it's wild. We're still a couple months away before things really get rolling up here, but it'll be here before we know it. Next thing you know, a guy will be balls to the wall out on the road.
yeah,
Um,
well, Canada is really
I
growing
guess
and
the PBR has like been is busy like pretty much all year now. Hey, like.
yeah, like both the PBR and the rodeo side of it has been
Mhm.
from here to like each year is just getting better and better. And
Yeah.
I think as a Canadian rodeo athlete, I mean, there's a lot of potential to, really make a true living
What's
without even
crazy?
going stateside, which is it's exciting. I'm excited to see what, 5 years brings.
Oh, it's wild, man. Because like Jerry and I talked about this when I had him on a while back, like about a month ago. But like between the PBR paying out the 100 grand bonus and the 50,000 for the finals, plus all the money available with the CFR, and throughout the season, what you can win. Like you've seen it. You were a season leader a couple of years ago. Like you could win 350,000 as a bull
Yeah,
rider in Canada, which is crazy compared to what it used to be.
yeah,
Even when you went pro.
yeah. I mean, yeah, if you look back to my rookie year, which is 2017, which seems like I
Eons
can't
ago.
even wrap
I
my
can't
head
believe it.
around.
It's crazy.
Yeah. But if you look to then, I thought this is shit, this is living. To now, I mean, it's night and day. Like, yeah, like you said with the PBR and their payout, and then yeah, the Canadian finals, and I think that's only to get better and better
Oh
each
man.
year. With being in Edmonton, with the resources there, um, and your expenses, like sure, especially with how expensive everything is in Canada, but really they're substantially cheaper
Hmm.
than those bronc riders and stuff that are going south as much as they are. If you can make 350,000 on like, a really doing it year and travel between BC and Manitoba and catch the odd flight for a bull rider to Ontario, I mean,
Pretty damn
it's not
good.
a bad way to make a living.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy, man. And I think too with how with the bull power is progressing in Canada, we're seeing more high end bulls. Like look at San Antonio, those Slim Wilson bulls that did so well. They got second in Denver and won San Antonio on Ringling Road, which is a Wilson bull, and you just see it's kind of really helping out our top end of our guys too, right? Like you're one of the premier guys, Nick Tetz, all these different guys. Jerry's still hanging around somehow. So I mean, having that bull power like kind of keep you guys honest has really helped out too, eh?
Oh, for sure. Give all the credit to the contractors, horse and bull power. The horses have been there for quite a few years.
Mhm.
But the bulls, I mean, yeah, like that Ringling Road I got on, I don't like to admit it, but I think I tied my hand to him like 5 or 6 times, and he got me every time.
Dang.
Um, and he's getting better and better. And, to be showcased down there, with the CAN on his hip, I mean, that's exciting. And then dialed in at Wilson's, I was quite sad to see that they sold him. I
Yeah,
got
you
along
guys are good
real good
buddies,
with
you and old
him.
dialed in, hey?
Yeah, yeah. And Eno's, they sold uh, relation to Unabomber Bull down south there on the PBRs. And I mean, he was up here for a little bit too. So yeah, I think the bull power's there. I think the Cowboys, the riders
Mhm.
are there. The money's there. I think it's an exciting time to be in the sport.
How much more does that motivate you knowing that you can make that much better of a living, I guess, at the highest level here?
Well, I mean, it should, right? Especially like I said, with how expensive life is.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
crazy.
at the end of the day, the money is definitely nice. However, when my rookie years say, even now, like I'm doing it because I love it, so I
Mhm.
should be motivated and driven to be my best, whether it's in the practice pen or it's for $100,000. But when there's that much money behind it, I mean, yeah, it definitely feels you a little different.
You touched on your rookie season, 2017. You and I have talked about this before in the season leader kind of interview that we did a couple years back, but I want to do it on this platform too. So you kind of burst onto the scene your rookie year, made the CFR, shut the lights out for lack of a better term, and then you kind of hit a bit of a wall, some injury troubles, and really couldn't looked like you had lost your way a little bit. But let's go back to that rookie season for starters, and we'll get into the second part of it. My first part of my question is like when you jumped into the scene and started winning like that, did it just seem easy to you? Were you like, oh, this is easier than I thought, or what was your mindset like?
I think I do really well um, when people are betting against me a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
or when I feel like maybe I am a little bit of an underdog coming in, which I think is similar to the 2022 CFR aggregate.
Hmm.
Um, and so the way my birthday falls is June 23rd. So that year, 2017, I missed, the big Wainwrights, Sundry, Pinoca, Williams Lake. Like I missed all of that. And my first one would have been early July, TP Creek, and then on. And I was doing really good in the amateurs and the BRC. I think I was season leader in the both amateurs and doing pretty good in the BRC. And so a lot of people, older bull riders in the BRC and then older veterans, that are now retired, um, were telling me to stay back, finish the year, let yourself grow up a little bit, so forth and so forth. But I had set out at the beginning of 2017 that if I was riding, I think it was 82%. Why I picked that number, I'm not sure, but 82% of my bulls in the or up until my birthday, then I was going pro. And I was riding that percentage. And, with the people saying that I should stay back and, you're going to beat yourself up. And, maybe now looking back, maybe they were right. I don't know. But at the time, it was like, okay, well, I'm going to prove you wrong,
Hmm.
prove myself right, and I'm going to go. And then, yeah, my first rodeo, I won TP Creek, first pro rodeo, filled my card. And then, was picking away. I'm doing pretty good until what was then that following winter in Red Deer at the first bull riding CPRA bull riding back in Canada that next year. uh, yeah, put me out for a year. But yeah, I think it was, yeah, just to kind of prove myself right more than anything.
Well, what was your confidence like? Because that was the year of the Global Cup too, when you rode Pound the Alarm in the short round
Just
there,
about.
or just about rode. I'm sorry,
Mhm.
but you made a big you made kind of like you surprised a lot of people there, which at that time, like you doing what you did there was a huge feat, and Canada was the underdogs themselves in that
Yeah,
whole event. So
yeah.
heading into that bull riding in Red Deer, like what was your mindset? Like what were you feeling? Like were you like, okay, I can do this, and then all of a sudden you're out for a year? Or what was
Yeah,
going on?
man, it was. I think that mainly, or not mainly, but I think that was one of the big reasons as to why when it, coming back from that year was such a like, tough
Hmm.
thing for me. Like I'd never really experienced, like I've mentioned, any serious injury. Um, and then yeah, I mean, jump onto the scene and kind of riding a high, right?
Hmm.
Of feeling better than I've ever felt in the sport
It's
and
almost an invincible
confident.
feeling, hey? Like,
100%. Yeah. Like at the Global Cup on the, would have been my first ride for the actual team. Um, I, yeah, rode a bull of flying highs, kind of half hung up to him and he stomped me and whatever else and got up like nothing and, did an interview. I mentioned that I felt like I was floating and, yeah, I mean, just 18 years old, first global cup, riding for my country and just riding a high, right? And you know, that invincible feeling. It turns out I broke my wrist and cracked a rib that ride. And then I proceeded to get on another one in the bonus round. But yeah, just going from, feeling like you said, invincible to then not anymore, kid.
it's
This
like the
is a
lowest
real
of lows
deal.
right away, hey, within
Yeah.
months.
And then like I rode the bull in Red Deer. It was on my get off. They stepped on my arm and blew my shoulder out, broke it, and what have you. A few surgery complications and stuff too. I think that led to the year out.
Hmm.
Could have been maybe 6 months, but coming back from that then was like, you're right here to then like as low as I possibly could be, and now try and build that momentum and the confidence and the to block the fear out of the what if and what if I get wrecked out again and
Hmm.
which comes with maturity, obviously. But um, it was an uphill battle coming back. That's for sure.
How'd you navigate that? Like you're like you said at the lowest of lows, and you're 18, turning 19 years old at the height of your coming into the prime of your career, I guess it should be, and
Mm.
you're like, man, there's that doubt creeps in. But what did you do to get yourself back to that level that we saw in 2022?
Yeah, well, it was really like a lot of people, you know, like sure I came back and started staying on a little bit,
Hmm.
won the long run in Pinoca that year that I came back and stuff, but I don't think I really came back to the 18-year-old Coy until 2022.
Right, yeah.
As much as that's kind of a, you know, yeah, it's kind of a tough pill to swallow that it took me that long, but um, everyone's journey is their own, I guess. But I think it just come down to me kind of looking in the mirror and this is ridiculous. Either because I wasn't even having fun really anymore.
Yeah, when you lose the
When
fun aspect, it sucks,
you know,
man.
and then when that gets taken away, I mean, like we talked about, it doesn't matter how much money or whatever is there. If the fun and the love for it isn't, then what the hell are you doing? And yeah, I don't know. I tried a lot of things, in that span of time, between uh, uh, mental sports performance psychologist to, I mean, I don't know, too many things probably was the problem. I should have just stared at myself in the mirror and figured it out and gave myself a bit of an ultimatum and like I've said in other talks, I just decided that I was sick of showing up and just taking part, just being a guy. I didn't want to be that. I wanted to be someone that was always in the conversation. And it was once that flip switched, or sorry, the switch flipped in my brain. It literally was just like that.
Mhm.
And, we got it turned around, but it just deciding enough's enough, I guess.
Yeah, and the flip, like the switch did flip. Like you came back at the CFR there and won the average. And man, you surprised. I think you surprised a lot of people. Did you surprise yourself a little bit with that result in Red Deer that year? It kind of would be the
I
same
guess
as going into your pro being like, well, people are doubting me, and like
yeah,
maybe that they think I don't belong. So it's like I'm gonna go give them the middle finger.
yeah. Well, yeah, and I mean, it might sound bad, that, for people to hear that, but when you're riding bulls,
Hmm.
and, tensions are hot and you got to have something in you that is willing to look at things like that,
Hmm. You got it.
like kill or be killed
Yep.
mentality kind of, right? Um, and did I surprise myself at the CFR? Not really. Maybe sounds like cocky to say, and I hope it doesn't, but not really, because from the beginning of the that year, I had set out, this is what I'm doing. Um, Making the CFR, and I'm going to win the average, and obviously I had hope to win the Canadian title, and Jared, by the skin of his teeth, got me. But um, um, I was definitely excited. Definitely knew that it was about time. You
Hmm.
know, I guess maybe that's less surprised with myself and more like it's about time, Coy.
Hmm.
You know, which is maybe just that competitive nature in me being hard on myself that it's about time. But
Was it like a feeling, like a big feeling of relief almost at the after that last round, being like, oh man, like if I put all this work in, it finally like kind of got back to where I want to be.
yeah, perhaps I think definitely standing in the alley there,
Hmm.
before we get announced, I think for sure probably some relief. But then going into 2023, I mean, there was no relief of any sort. It was,
Yeah, with that, did that doubt creep in, being like, oh man, what if this happens to me again? Like, so what was the like the time from the CFR to when you crack back out for 2023?
no, I don't think there was anything. I think I've matured enough, and I've been
Hmm.
through and over those hurdles enough times in that span from 2019 to 2022 that I can, well, that's not to say that obviously doubt doesn't creep in. I mean,
Yeah.
the odds are highly stacked against us in this sport. So yeah, I mean, there are times, but it's how you can, um, you know, navigate through them, right? And block them out and such. And I think, I just maybe matured mentally a little better
Hmm.
and could cipher on how to juggle all that. But yeah, 2023 was a new mission. Uh, and truthfully, the mission was season leader
Hmm.
at the all time. I wanted the season leader, and in my brain, I had thought if you're season leader, you have a good finals, you win the Canadian title. It didn't play out like that, but the season leader was the top goal, that saddle. And yeah, I guess when you set a mission and write it down on paper, put the work in for it, it can be achieved, and worked out for me.
Yeah, good things happen. And let's talk about that year, 2023. It was a huge year. You kind of kicked ass the whole way through. What was kind of like how much fun were you having on the road that year? Like it seemed like you won everywhere you went.
Yeah, well, I know that's what happens. I think when you get in with a truck of winners,
Hmm.
and as much as they razz me a lot and drive me nuts sometimes. I do appreciate being able to jump in the rig with Jared and Jordy
Hmm.
and Lonnie as well. I drove with him before, but Jared and Jordy, the two um, OG bull riders coming from Canada, really, in my
Yeah.
generation, making the NFR and multiple times and kicking ass when they're there, to be able to roll with them for a full year. And there's no time for poor me. Not that I've ever really been like that, but like no time for any of that, nor time for any, uh, you fall off and you dwell and drag it on and drag it on. I mean, there's no time for that. And they don't fall off.
Yeah, you
So
got if they're showing up, you got to stay on because
yeah, I don't want to
they're
be the guy that,
yeah,
my two traveling partners stay on everywhere we go and I fall off. So, I
yeah.
mean, fit in or how to
Get the
say,
hell out of the truck, dude.
yeah.
Well, it's one
So
of those.
I think
Oh,
a lot of it could correlate with, getting in a
mhm.
truck with them guys.
Yeah, it's kind of that same old adage of you kind of you are who you roll with, and surround
Mhm.
yourself with people who are better than you. Not saying that they're better than you, but it helps having people who are there to like push you and motivate you and lift you up. And I mean,
Yeah, and hold you accountable too,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, it's kind
Yeah.
of funny. I guess to them, you always be the rookie. Hey, like they're
Oh
no
yeah.
matter how long you Red Bulls and how
Well, you
much
think
you
about it,
win.
they're 48 or whatever they are, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's for sure.
No.
Okay, so 2023 big year season leader. CFR rolls up. You don't have your best CFR. It's disappointing. Probably not too much fun to talk about, but I'm gonna make you talk about it anyways because that's what we do
That's
in
all.
my line of work. But
Mhm.
what was what was that about? I mean, you buck off your first bull. Did you buck off your first bull that year? Can't remember. I'm talking on my ass here.
Yeah, I know. You're right. I fell off.
Yeah. Well,
Canadian
so
Pro.
so I
I rode the
mean,
last two. That was it.
yeah, that's right. Okay, I had it backwards. I thought you rode first two and then bucked off. But anyway, you buck off your first three bulls. Like, what's going through my ears? Like, what is happening? Is this back? Like again, is any of that doubt from before creeping in, or what are you doing to kind of keep yourself motivated that week?
Uh, I look back on that time multiple, or that CFR multiple times, and
Hmm.
I don't really know, to be honest, because I felt good going
Hmm.
into the CFR. I won Edmonton, uh, went to Grand Prairie, and did real good there at the PBR. It's not like I had fallen off a bunch leading into
No.
it. I was staying on and riding
Hmm.
good. And I think a true champion, I didn't deserve the Canadian title that year. I'll tell
Hmm.
you why. A true champion wouldn't let other people's voices and words affect them. And I had a lot of, not a lot, but some people, yeah, going in number one, the pressure's on. And as much as I would portray and try to not show that I was internalizing that, the more times you hear something and then you start repeating it back to yourself, that's going to affect stuff. Not that it's anyone else's fault. It's my fault
Hmm.
that I let that, get inside me and play with me. And then I'm hard on myself
Hmm.
at all times, and hold myself highly accountable. But when I first two rounds, I think it was, fell off. And, some people were like, what's going on? Like, you know, are you good? Whatever. And it was like, settle down. Like, so what? I fell off too. I'll come back, but that was just a, like me protecting myself kind of because I knew I was, like I was trying to fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah.
No, don't worry about it. It's fine. I'll get him at kind of the tail end, last few rounds, this and that. Well, Jake had already run away with it pretty much by then. And that was just me, I think, protecting myself, knowing that I was battling. Um, Luckily, I didn't get skunked. By the time we were done with that week, it was the longest week of my life. I was
Like,
just
get me out
grateful
of
that,
Red Deer.
yeah, I was just grateful I didn't, get skunked and stayed on a couple. Um, but yeah, I just learning, right?
Hmm.
I would like to believe if I'm put in that situation again, it won't happen. Um, yeah, that's how you grow, I think, though, is you got to be put through those situations.
That's how you learn to be a champion, man. Is I appreciate you sharing that point of it, maybe about not deserving it, letting people get to you because I don't think a lot of people would share that part of
Yeah,
it.
I don't,
It's
that shit doesn't bother me. I mean, I think
it's
that,
but it's true though. It's like no matter who you are, if you let that stuff get to you, it's gonna affect. Like Cody Lamb talked about it before he won his title in Edmonton last year. It's like he was faced with this mountain that he has been
mm,
unable to climb of his own mind, and that day he finally was able to put it behind him, and it's only a matter of
that's,
time for you, I'm
that's,
sure.
he deserved every bit of that Canadian
Oh
title,
man.
strictly based off of that right there, because like I had some people tell me, "Oh, you're number one, pressure's on this and that." And that's another thing though, when you have a horse like that and the amount of people that are saying shit
Oh,
to,
all day.
yeah, all day, constant.
Mhm.
Oh,
Oh, you got Virgil. Oh my God.
yeah, yeah. And the fact that he just blocked it out, and stayed in his own brain and knew what was going to happen. I mean, that is worth a Canadian title in its,
Oh man,
itself.
that's
Uh,
cool. Such a cool
it
moment.
was badass being on the back of the chutes for it. I know that.
Man, just being in the building is just an electric moment. That whole night was electric between
Mhm.
Macy breaking the record and everything that happened. It was one of those cool things about the CFR last year. There was so many moments that had the potential to be great, and it needed to be the right moment, and they all like hit. It's like you should have been
Yeah,
someone should have bought a lottery ticket if you were betting on
yeah.
that kind of thing. It's
I
crazy.
think just solidified that Edmonton is as grateful as I am for Red Deer. They
Hmm.
did a phenomenal job, but I think Edmonton. Yeah, I'm very happy that it's back in Edmonton.
It's the home of the CFR, man. Like so many big moments, and even for you, you won your steer riding title there. You grew up
Over a
just outside
decade.
of Edmonton. It's your backyard, man. Like
Yeah.
there's so many cool things, and it's just
Mhm.
it was the natural next step post Red Deer to head to Edmonton. So I guess that leads into a question of how meaningful was it for you to qualify for the 50th CFR in Edmonton?
Well, it's huge. I'll tell you, talk about that doubt that creeps in. I was like, when it was announced and
Hmm.
such that it was going to be in Edmonton for the 50th year, I was all jacked up, and someone said to me, "You just better hope you make it." We hadn't even got on a bowl yet during the year, and then I was like, "Yeah,
Man, you got to
you're
stop
right," because
talking to
I
these
had kind
people,
of,
man.
which was good. I'm glad they said it
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I kind of had, which you should believe, but it was like just, oh, I'm gonna make it.
yeah, yeah.
Like I
Dope.
had that belief in my brain, like it wasn't even, I didn't even think that I might not
Yeah.
until it was perspective change, and I was like, holy shit, yeah, I can't drop the ball here. It's my family and like people from Camrose, it's not very far away, right?
Yep, yep.
They're all like, oh wow, like are you gonna be there and this and that? I'm like, well, I sure hope so. I'm gonna do
I
my
try my
damnedest.
best. Yeah. Well,
Uh,
and you did it too. So I mean, how exciting was that to you to be able to share that with your people and your community? I know that your community means a whole lot to you.
yeah, no, 100%. I know that there was a few people from town here that made it out, and luckily it was on the day that I stayed on. Um, yeah, no, it was special. The building obviously is prestigious,
Hmm.
but we had ridden in it before with the PBR finals. But yeah, just the whole kind of hype and the whole atmosphere and buzz that the CFR created, I think was special. And I'm grateful to be a part of it or to have had been a part of it. Um, would have been nice to stay on a few more, but rode one that's bucked me off 5 times. So we'll go with that.
There you go. That's a good thing to build off of. So I don't know. Trying not to be. I don't want to be a negative Nancy or kind of make light of a not a great situation and with. But like, what's it going to take for you to for the CFR for you to go a little bit better? I know you have it in you. I've been watching you since you were 14
Someone's
years
just got to
old.
really piss me off before.
Noted.
uh, I've thought that many times.
Yeah, I guess you can't beat a
Then I
dead
think
horse
to
for
myself,
you
it's
if you.
been 2 years, right?
Mm-hmm,
23, I shit the bed. Last year, I was having hell getting going.
mm-hmm,
Uh, it's just a in my brain thing. I'm gonna have to cipher. Come the tail end of the year,
mm-hmm,
some other stuff picks up with, what I plan B's kind of thing.
mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I sometimes struggle juggling. Actually, I know I do because when I would go to the States in the wintertime, plan B's were extremely busy and I would let it affect boarding.
Yeah, yeah.
So I got to really work on that. And I'm hoping this winter that I've stayed home and handled a lot of that shit that I've been putting off
Mm-hmm,
will allow, you know, building systems, I think, that will allow me to stay, blinders to
mm-hmm.
planning, riding bulls, come that time. And just some things in the back end, I think they will have to get lined out, which we're doing. And yeah, I mean, it's in my cards to be Canadian champion, so I got to
It's
figure out one way or another.
bound to happen, man. You're a motivated guy, and like I said, I've been watching you since you were 14 years old. So
Yeah.
I won't be surprised when it does come together for you, which I'm sure is going to be sooner than later. One
Yeah.
thing from last year to see if I want to talk about. I really haven't talked about this with anybody yet, aside from Clay after right after. Um, William Barrows. How crazy of a story was that? And I mean that goes. I think it goes back to the point when we were talking about the money available. Like he came in 13th in Canada and walked away with the Canadian champ. So from through your lens, what was it like watching Willie come in and take it home?
It was a sight to see, man.
Hmm.
That guy deserves a pat on the back multiple times
Hmm.
to come in. And he could have let the hype and the whatever and the underdog get to him, but he did a complete opposite of it.
Hmm.
And I think just, the old saying, the less you think about things, sometimes, most times, the better it'll be. And he had nothing to lose.
No.
Like he got the call, which is exciting, and then just show up and just do what you do.
Hmm.
Who cares about anything? You're here. You didn't think you were here a day ago,
Hmm.
right? Just do your thing, which he did, and made a statement. I mean, yeah, I don't even know. Like, I never thought I'd see something like that.
No, it's
I didn't even know
crazy.
if it was possible, to be honest with you.
Yeah, man,
But that,
it's
like you
crazy.
said, shows, what Canada has to offer. You can come in that far back, um, and
And,
walk away number one.
and shows like how valuable being consistent is. Like Willie wasn't a pile of points in any round, but he just showed up and rode the most bulls. And usually at the end of the day, whoever rides the most wins. And that kind of really solidified that theory, I guess, at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. Just stay on and I mean, they don't got to be number ones each round.
Hmm.
All you got to do is stay on each round or as many as possible, and they'll pay you, which he proved. Yeah, consistency wins.
Consistency always wins, man. So you talk about kind of getting things right and getting things dialed in for 2025. I guess we're now, Jesus. Um, how much, how big, how like how important has the outside the arena stuff become for you? I know you put a lot of work in. We were just talking about how you're just putting a shift at old acumen today, but
Mhm.
you're one of those guys who takes really good care of himself. And how has that helped you again, bounce back from injuries and stay healthy and be at the top of your game for as long as you have been now?
Well, I think it's for me. You ask a guy like Jared and Jordy. I mean, they're not. Well, Jared is cowboying all the time. Jordy's manual labor type stuff. That's working out to them,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and it works. For me, that makes me sound like I don't do manual labor. Sure, like that.
I've seen you
Um,
do some manual labor. You're good, dude.
um, I think for me, the gym or like putting in that work
Mhm.
just helps me walk into the next event with the full confidence that I've done the preparation and the work leading up to. As long as I uh, give 100% effort, the chips will fall where they fall. But I know that I've done the work I needed to do. I can't. Oh, I should have not been a lazy piece of shit all week, and maybe I'd have done better. Like
Yep,
when you put in the work consistently, you can.
no doubt.
In this game, I've learned if you can minimize as many of those little thoughts, um, by doing the things to get rid of them, you better do them. And for me, that's just kind of, and then obviously like the prehab kind of, the injury prevention. And then even in the case that a guy does get pretty sore midsummer, it definitely helps with that too, obviously. But the biggest thing for me is just my mental game and the mindset that I carry from the week into that event
Mhm.
that I think is the most important for me.
Yeah, it's a huge part of it, man. Got to take care of the mind and the body, and you'll be laughing. Um, you've loosely mentioned your Plan B stuff, um, and I mean, I think Plan B is the wrong word, maybe in a sense, but
At
how
this point, yeah.
at this point, you know what I mean? But it's like I think this is a conversation that needs to be had amongst more rodeo contestants or people involved with rodeo. Is like we can't do this forever as much as we'd like to think that we can. And I mean, it's probably maybe not something that high level athletes need to think about, but you see it in other sports too, with hockey, football, baseball. At the end of at end of people's careers, if they don't aren't developing anything else to kind of fall back on,
Yeah.
then they're
No,
lost people. They kind of and you lose your identity. But how important to you has it been to build something that you can have once your career is over?
yeah. Well, I don't know if I had initially planned for it to build to what it is now.
Hmm.
Um, but the injuries I had dealt with, I think maybe sped it all up for me.
Hmm.
Um, like my shoulder I was still young and, running mucks and stuff. Not really, I have always wanted to be like a business owner and
Hmm.
so forth. But, I was just having fun at that stage until I broke my arm. 2019. I got a surgery, and then I struggled with surgeries, I guess, and its complications. I had to get another surgery, and it was 11 months that I was out. I come back, um, started staying on, made the PBR Canada finals for what you would call them as a finals,
Mhm.
but COVID had crept in then.
Right.
And so now I've got a broken arm, or had a broken arm, was working flooring and tiling. Terrible job. Great people, it just, yeah, not for me. Then, start riding, and COVID happens, we got nowhere to go. And it kind of just made me think, like, because I'm not good with uncertainty, and I'm not good with,
Mhm.
uh, you know, financial stress. I don't want that, right? And so uh, it just made me realize that this is not going to pay forever.
Mhm.
It's not going to pay when you're falling off. It's not going to pay when you break your arm. What are we going to do in the case that this happens again? And I was flooring, like I said, and I didn't want to. I've always wanted to be a business owner, so I thought, okay, well, now's the time. And so, with the help of Chad Bestplug, actually, uh, yeah, started my feed business, um, and yeah, put learned quick that it's a grind. It's not easier than working for somebody else, like I thought it might be. Um, and yeah, man, it's just taken off actually, and
Mhm.
I'm extremely grateful for it. Um, but I think it is very important, and I think you see it too many times where people, like you said, um, you leave the profession that they, athlete wise, that they've been in, and have no identity, no idea,
Mhm.
and are lost.
Mhm.
And if you can minimize that in any way, shape, or form, I think it's important. And you see guys like um, Kenner Gerlitz, for example, right? Started his septic business, and got everything dialed in.
Mhm.
I admire that, because it would be easy. Well, I did in 2018 when I was sitting on the sidelines, to just become lost, not knowing what to do with myself except ride bulls. Um, yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun. I like it. And it's bull riding. It'd be tough to be, a rodeo athlete, and you're gone, and you're here, and there, and you're meeting people, and you're the competitive drive, and so forth and so forth, to then just be done that and go, do some job that has none of that.
Yeah.
That's tough too. Where the business side of it, when you own your own business, I mean, you got constant, all the time, nonstop
Mhm.
shit to deal with, and competition. And, so I think it helps in that regard too. It keeps me kind of fired up. Um, yeah, it's fun. I think I maybe sometimes take on more than I can handle sometimes,
Mhm.
because I enjoy business so much that I want to, you know, take on all these ventures. But yeah, we're getting it wrangled in, and yeah, it's been fun. This bull riding in town has been a substantial amount of work, more than I thought it would be when I started. Um, Hats off to every committee that or person that puts an event on, because I now realize that
Should be
it
a rule. If you want your pro card, you got to work on one
seriously,
committee for
and
one
maybe
week.
you won't throw your tape on the ground and not pick it up, put it in the garbage, because somebody's got to.
Somebody's
And
doing
I
it.
don't like being the guy that does.
Well,
um,
I mean, that's gonna be my next question, Coy. Or my next kind of topic I want to talk about with you. You're heading into the third year of the Rose City Invitational. Your fourth year of the Rose City Invitational. My bad. Apologies. I should know I'm working for you. Jesus. Uh, but I mean, this has been a kind of like you said, something you wanted to do, and something that's grown into a marquee event in the Cannon Rose community. So kind of go back to the beginning, kind of where you got the idea and why you wanted to do it in the first place, and then to what it's turned into today.
yeah, man, it's been on the goal list amongst, right up there with my personal rodeoing goals, to put on a bull riding event in my hometown.
Hmm.
To be able to showcase what I do and love to the people that support me. And yeah, I don't know, just I guess everything lined out in 2022 when we first put it on, and yeah, the little Coy in me was, the young Coy was definitely gung ho and eager and excited to be able to do something like this. And then yeah, like anything, you want it to be better and bigger and thinking in new ways and whatnot. And so yeah, over the past 3 years now, going on our fourth, I think we've ramped up from the first year, and it's exciting. I think the most exciting part is the hype around
Hmm.
Camrose
Hmm.
and seeing the support from the city because I mean, you put all this work in and do all this stuff, but if no one bought a ticket or no one sponsored the event to help put it on, I mean, what the hell good is it?
Yeah.
Me and my friends standing around, no different than a practice pen. So that's exciting. Where I
Yeah.
can go into town, go to the bank, and someone, is asking when tickets are coming on sale and
Hmm.
so forth. That's exciting to me, and I think a lot of people. I think yeah, people enjoy it, and it was nice in 2022 because we were like when we first started with it, we were still skeptical with COVID.
Hmm. Hmm.
15th wave going to come of COVID, and we're going to have to shut it down, or there's still some uncertainty, and I think I think that really helped the event get put on the map because
Mm.
everyone was at home, right? Pretty much. And then this was essentially the first outing, big event in Camrose.
Hmm.
And so people were jacked up for it, which got them kind of drawn and hooked. And then now they're kind of loyal fans. Um, where if that wasn't in place, maybe we would have sold
Might be a
half the
different story.
tickets and,
Yeah.
could be a different story. Um, but yeah, it's fun. It's exciting.
What was your first harsh reality as an event producer, putting on the first Rose City Invitational?
Good question.
I think I just thought of
Harsh reality, maybe just the eye-opening, are you kidding me?
it.
To the amount of work
Yeah.
that, like, I think I'm a pretty aware guy, and I had gone to how many events, amateur or pro, and never truly, truly appreciated
Hmm.
the people and the work that went into it. Like, it doesn't matter if it's some tiny little backyard type thing or if it's the real deal.
Hmm.
The amount of work, man, is overwhelming that I just never would have thought of. And I think yeah, that and ticket sales are a terrifying thing.
Well, I was thinking about last year when we were like 2 or 3 hours away from the start of the event, and we're like, oh my God, we have all these tickets left. The next thing you know, they
They're
flood the
gone.
doors and she gone. It's
Yeah.
standing room only.
But that is that keeps me up at night. Yeah. Um, yeah, because that I can't control,
Yeah.
right? I can control the dirt, I can control the marketing, I can control, there's a lot of things that I can essentially if I buckle down control. But that I can't control them buying the tickets. And so just leaving it up to everyone to buy the tickets is scary and keeps me up at night. But probably the harshest reality was just the eye-opening to amount of work that was
Well,
needing.
and like anything like this takes a village to get done, and
Mm.
your people in your corner have been a big help for obviously your family, your parents, Brooke, your brother, everybody involved. What's it been like to have them along on this journey with you?
Oh, it's been fun. I think it stresses them out just as much as me sometimes. When they see me running around like a chicken with my head cut off, terrified if everything's going to fall into place. It's been fun. I think, anything of any stature isn't worth shit if you don't
Hmm.
have people to celebrate it with. And yeah, I'm extremely grateful that the support is endless within the community, but my family especially. Um, yeah, I know I could come up with the most ridiculous idea that I'm going to do. And, they might tell me it's ridiculous and that it's not going to work until they realize that I'm not going to listen and the support will be there, which some people don't have in this world. And it's
Hmm.
unfortunate for them because it's special. And yeah, it's fun when you can look back. I think this continues on for how many ever years, and I can get my kids involved one day, and to be able to look back, and know that my family was behind me for the whole thing, and friends and business partners and so forth. Um, I think that's the key to everything, right? It's having a good circle of people around you.
Like, the hard work hasn't gone unnoticed either, Coy, and the kind of the reputation you've built within cameras and the industry. Your back-to-back PBR Canada Indoor Event of the Year. I know it's not always about the accolades and the prizes and the trophies, but what does it mean to you to have those two plaques hanging in your trophy room?
It's special. I would say, was as special as the Rookie of the Year or the aggregate buckles. Just like we talked, the amount of work and to have it recognized um, by my peers and friends, amongst many, many great events. It's not uh, an easy feat, I would say. There's a lot of great events and a lot more coming. And so just to have it recognized, the amount of work just makes it that much more worthwhile to me. And then, with the city of Camrose too, I mean, for them to be able to get behind something in as big of way as they have, to be able to be eligible and looked at as the event of the year, is props to them too, because like you said, it does take a army of people, right? Yeah, I'm going for number three.
Going for the three, Pete. And speaking of that, talking about ticket sales and all these crazy things, the Rose City
Hmm.
Invitational is coming back for the fourth time, May
Yeah.
10th in Camrose. Tickets are going on sale March 1st. We're super excited to get rolling on that, get marketing to you people, and hoping to make it bigger and better than ever. But what can
Mhm.
people expect out of this year's version of the Rose City Invitational?
Best version they've seen. Yeah, I don't know. I got some things in the pipe. I don't like to show all my cards, but should be a lot of fun. Singers performer wise, there's two great acts that we'll be announcing shortly. Uh, one of which is new. One has been there. One's new, and this cat, and I'm telling you, he blew my mind. So I'm excited about that. And then of course the other group that has been there before. I'm super excited to have them back. Yeah, be the hopefully best bull riding in Canada.
Hopefully 3 years in a row. And then I guess the last thing on this, where can people find the information? I guess if they're listening
Hmm.
later this week, where can they buy tickets and all that fun stuff?
Yeah, I guess social media, Facebook and Instagram at the Rose City Invitational. Um, Tickets will be on sale March 1st, like you said, on Eventbrite. If all went well when I set it all up so that it publishes March 1st. But yeah, Eventbrite. And then we'll have some paper tickets for sale, not probably middle of March, um, in the co-ops, in cameras in the surrounding areas, and then Lamley's again as well. And I might leave a few laying around maybe for people to pick up.
Cool.
But uh, yeah, that's kind of the deal there with where you can find everything, or shoot me a message or the Facebook page.
Yeah, we'll get you covered for sure. Cool, man. Well, it's going to be an exciting year, and I mean, okay, actually, I have one last question for you that I don't want to forget this.
Okay.
Back to the rodeo side of things. What's one bull you're hoping to match up with this year down the rodeo or bull riding trail?
Unrealistic because I think they might sell them would be chosen because I got on at CFR and he
You
was
almost snapped that bugger too.
yeah, going straight. I could go touch the replay screen in Rogers Place.
Yeah.
Uh, but I don't know, maybe they'll sell him. If not, any one of them that I could be 90 on, maybe. I don't know. There's a lot of good bulls. There's a lot of good bulls going. Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, that's
Uh,
fine. We can leave her at that. And yeah, thanks again for the time. Wishing you all the best this year, the 2024 season. All the best with your bull riding event. It's going to be a great time, and we'll catch you down the road, my friend.
yeah. Awesome, man. It was a pleasure chatting with you, and I appreciate you having me on.
Right on. Well, and this has been episode 31 of the Short Round Podcast. We will be back with another one very soon.